Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is hautemesstom and today we are going to take a look at my blush collection. So what had happened is I recently fell in love with blush. Historically, if you go far back on my channel, I don't even really wear blush. I don't know the meaning of blush, but I have since learned, and I over the past year, 2 years, have gained quite the collection, as you can see. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to show you my collection, and then hopefully I'm sure we're going to find some dupes in here of stuff. So I'm going to try to swatch stuff. I'm not the best swatcher, but I think it's necessary for what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to open these all up, show them to you, and then I also might rank them too. This is just my blush collection video. Okay, so I'm just going to open them all and then we'll go from there. I don't know what fit, which is truly tragic. No, that's not in there. It's fine. Hold this one. Just back. Waiting. I said that was the and that's not this video. We need to go to these colors. Okay, so here's my collection all laid out here. So what I want to do first is kind of look at everything and move things aside. So I think first things first, as far as color matching, is that I'm going to move aside all of the palettes. I am not planning on decluttering any of them, but I'll go through them real quick. This one is from Lunatic Cosmetics Labs. This is their Contour Volume 1. If you're not familiar with it, it looks like this on the front. And the four shades in the middle row, those are all blushes. They're all pretty. I don't often use them. It's not that I dislike them. They're actually very beautiful blushes. They're just matte, and I have found recently that I do a more satin, demi-matte, sometimes even a full-on shiny blush. So I think that these are fine, especially if I'm traveling. I like this contour kit because I do like the contours, and then I just have the blushes built in. I don't really need to take another blush. It doesn't mean I don't take other blushes. It just means I don't have to. This one's a little bit weird. This is the Natasha Denona Diamond Blush. This is the 01 Daria. So this is a little bit different. I'm okay with this blush and the powder blush. I don't use this often, and then every time I do, I think my look is really good. But I just used this not that long ago in a video where I was shopping my stash, and I'll try to remember to link that up there for you if you were interested. And I thought my skin looked really beautiful using this, so it's something that I would like to break out more. But I got this on sale; it was half off, and then I had my Sephora discount on top of it, so I ended up not spending that much money on it. Definitely not full price. I would not spend full price on this. I would wait for it to go on sale. It goes on sale a lot. I don't know if it's something they're keeping in rotation. This is another palette. This has Mood Exposure in it, and so this is Vibrant Flush and this is Mood Exposure. I don't have these two in a full size. I bought this palette to try it out. I had never used Hourglass before this. I clearly like the formula. There's 3 more of them sitting under there, and again, I like this palette. It's a good travel palette. The only unfortunate thing for me is the bronzer and the highlight don't work for my skin tone. However, I do really like this, and I'm not getting rid of any of my palettes. And then my last palette, this is from Burberry. This is very unique to my collection. I don't have any baked gelée blushes other than these ones. I don't think any of my other blushes are baked gelée. These are highly impactful, very shiny, look very gorgeous on the skin. I love the highlights on the Burberry highlights. Are known for being as alien slut, as Teresa's Dead would say. I'm not keen on this cream bronzer in here, but again, we're talking about the blushes. We don't need to worry about that. All right, so I'm gonna move some things into frame here. Okay, so I'm just trying to look at my collection and see what's similar, because I'm never gonna get through this much blush, and I like a cream. I do like a cream product. So I'm gonna remove things that I see that I don't have anything else like. So I don't have any hot pinks like this. This is Pop It from Westman Atelier. Oh, look what I did. I must have not wound it down enough. So that's gonna stay. That's a cream stick. And this is much softer than a lot of my blushes from Chantecaille. This is the Butterfly shade Bliss. But I want to compare it to this because it might be close, because this is also a very soft blush on me. And this is Incandescent Electra from Hourglass. So I would like to see those two together. And then looking at these two, these are two cream blushes. This one is Wasp, I believe. And this is Fuego Flush from Fenty. This is from Ritual Defy. This one's from Fenty. Those look similar. I'm going to close them while I set them aside. I don't want to keep my cream products open for too long, as I said. So I would say that this Terracotta shade and then this Tower 28 shade are pretty similar. So I would like to swatch them next to each other. I don't think I'm going to get rid of either of them because I think their finish is going to be a lot different. And then we also have this one from Pat McGrath and this one from KVD Beauty. And this one is Electric Bloom from Pat McGrath. And this is Poppy from KVD. So I'm going to set those aside because I think those might be dupes. They'd have different finishes though. I'm pretty sure the Pat McGrath one is satin. I'm setting them aside. Don't worry, they're there. So as far as these go, they could potentially look like these KVD ones. I'm hoping to get rid of some of my cream ones, just so I can pass them along before they potentially go awry, you know? And then I don't think I have anything like these two blushes. This one may look like the KVD one once swatched, but the KVD ones are definitely matte and the Hourglass ones are definitely a satin finish. So I'm going to set that aside too with the KVD and the Ritual Defy. I don't have anything like this. This is like more of a brick red that sits on the face. So I'm just going to set that aside because I think we are golden there. I will set this orange one with the Poppy up here. And then I have these two shades. This one is Snapdragon from Ritual Defy. And then this one is Daiquiri Dip. Looks like their tones are a little bit different, but I think it's worth swatching them out because the cream blushes, these look really dark in the pan, and then on the skin they're a different color. So I'm going to set those two aside. I don't have a soft pink like this, and I've been using this in my project pan. This one has a nice like shimmer finish to it. I don't have anything like it, so I think that one's worth keeping and like not really worrying about. And then this one, okay, I'm gonna swatch this one. This one is Blood Flower. And wow, that's not a very good blend, Tom. Okay, that's like pretty. But I don't know if that's anything special. I'll set that aside. That's like might be just one I just declutter because we have to get started here. We just start looking at the shades. Oh, and this one from Pat McGrath. This is Desert Orchid. I definitely don't have any blushes like this, so this one is definitely staying. This is like my new favorite blush. Now I'm not even talking about formula, like the shade of this. I really have been enjoying it. It kind of goes with any look, and I love that about it. So I'm gonna set that aside too because it's like definitely staying. So let's start doing some swatch comparisons. So this is Glasswing from Ritual Defy, and I'm just going to compare it to Snapdragon from KVD. I just want to see what they look like. All right, so this is Snapdragon, and I'm just gonna buff them out a little bit because obviously you're not wearing blush like this. And I've mentioned this in other videos before that I tend to like a deeper, more pigmented blush. I just like a heavy blush look, so I tend to like go deep with my blushes. This might not be something that like everyone is comfortable with as far as like using on their own faces, but that's very pretty. I don't know what these are gonna look like, you know? Oh wow. Yeah, so this is definitely way more purple. This is definitely way more purple than this. So I think these are both unique enough to stay. I really like the KVD formula. I know that like we're not fans of, I don't know, KVD's like trying to figure out what it's doing, but the blushes are, I can stand by. All right, let's take a look at these more orangey shades. Here we go. We're just gonna go down the line. This is color T1 from Krylon. Super orangey. And then this is Daiquiri Dip from Fenty. Wow, there's like glitter chunks in my Daiquiri Dip. Now, Lena pointed out whenever she was on No Makeup Nonsense Bingo that she like didn't really care for the Fenty ones. And I guess that's a fair assumption. And now this is Snapdragon. This is from Ritual Defeat. This is one of their gloss bombs. Balm something. Those two are very similar. Okay, this is the Pat McGrath Electric Bloom. Okay, wow. Okay, definitely doesn't look like the other ones. And then this is Poppy from KVD. Okay, I don't want to be like unrealistic, but like those are all definitely different shades of orange. They really are. And I like really like this one. I'm like so these ones are almost identical. Like they're pretty close. So the Ritual Defeat, which is this one, and the Fenty. I hope you can hear me. So I was just saying, this is the Fenty and this is the Ritual Defeat. The Fenty has a shimmer to it as the Ritual Defeat does not. But now that I'm looking at all of these together, I don't know. I like the Ritual Defeat ones to play together, and I kind of like blend them and do like an ombre situation with them. I'm gonna take a look at the Fenty ones at the end, and then I'm also going to set aside the Snapdragon from Ritual Defeat, and just like I think I need to take a different look at them. But I like the other three. I think I might just get rid of this one. I don't reach for it very often, but like look at that orange. It's like just orange. Do you know what I mean? And all of the other ones I feel like have undertones of other things. So I don't know if I'm gonna be very good at decluttering blushes because I really fucking like them. So I think I just need to be like honest with myself. I'm not really gonna use this one, and I didn't get it that long ago. I think I got it about like just a year ago, and I think that someone else might like this and use this more than me. So I'm just gonna set this aside. But these two are safe and sound. They've made it past the chop. All right, so let's take a look at these two. So again, this one's from Pat McGrath. It is the Paradise Venus, and then from Tower 28, this is Power Hour. I really like the formula of these Tower 28 cream blushes. Like, they're super, well, I mean, this one's a little bit deeper, but it's like just a beautiful, like, terracotta. And I did not blend that out really well on my arm, but like, they do blend really well. I'm gonna go back in with this one because I didn't do like a heavy, I don't think I did a fair enough swatch here. Okay, both terracotta-y shades, but I feel like the Pat McGrath has a little bit more ruddiness to it. And this one, I would say, is like a little bit more neutral, even though, well, kind of like just less ruddy. It has some ruddiness to it, but like, they're both pretty, but I think they're different enough to keep. Let's take a look at these mauves. So this one is from Ritual Defeat. This is the shade Ladybug. I believe this one was of the Pigment Nectar Balms. I believe that this one was limited edition. Like, they don't make this shade anymore, but all the other ones are permanent. So that one's like a nice little flush, lighter pigmentation. We know the KVD is going to have a lot of pigmentation. It just is how she rolls. Okay, so this is showing up a lot deeper than this one. Like, they're not even really close. But let's take a look at the Hourglass one. The Hourglass shade is a Euphoric Fusion. Okay, so again, very different blushes. The thing with the Hourglass blushes is that the color is, like, I think designed to be so soft that it's very seamless on the face, so it's not going to swatch. So whereas that, like, looks like the same shade kind of in the pan of the shade that's, like, when you can see the color and not, like, the glowy marble part, they look the same, but they're very different actually on here. And this is, like, way more pink than it looks in the pan, but, like, okay. I really thought I was going to be getting rid of some more stuff, but I think that that was a lie. I told myself that was a lie. Okay. But I just wanted to see some swatches, okay? All right. Okay, so this is Electra, Incandescent Electra from Hourglass. I'm gonna try to build it up a little bit more, but it's like a very soft look. Very soft. And then the Chantecaille Bliss. So they both are baby pinks, but the Chantecaille does have a little bit more of like an oranginess to it, which is interesting. Like it's definitely like pink, but it's more of a baby pink. And it's not as, this is definitely much more shimmery of a blush than the Chantecaille. So, okay. I do want to try to be real with myself. I have been trying for a long time to decide whether or not these Fenty ones or these Ritual Defeat pigment balms were like my favorite. So after swatching them, seeing the shimmer in Fuego Flush, I do like that this kind of has the shimmering aspect to it and the more like of a glowing flush. So I'm going to keep that one. And they're just so different. So I'm also going to keep the one from Ritual Defeat. But I think with my collection that this has kind of overstayed its welcome. I think it's very pretty. Again, here's the shade. I think it's like very pretty and like blended out. Like it looks just like so pretty on the skin. But I have to admit that like I haven't been reaching for this particular cream blush in a very long time. I can remember the last time I reached for Fuego Flush. I can't remember the last time I reached for Daiquiri Dip. So I'm going to pass this on. I think my friend will very much enjoy it. Okay, so I thought it'd be fun. I've seen both Smoky Glow and Emily Han do something similar with their collections. I'm going to try to rank all of my blushes. I think what I'm going to do to make this less hectic for me is I'm going to do it by formula. So I'm going to pull one from each brand. So for Hourglass, I'm going to be pulling At Night. Guys, wow. And now that I'm looking at this, and obviously when I like something, I like keep buying. So when I'm looking at my collection, I think my heart of hearts says that the Fenty is my least favorite of my formulas for blushes. Now I understand that I'm mixing powder and cream. For whatever reason, I really liked these when they first launched, and that's like not a bad thing. But this also kind of sparked my like cream blush, balmy blush craze that I got into. And then other things I bought since this, I've liked more. And like, I honestly often don't reach for this, but I think they are beautiful products. But like I said, buyer beware. Lena said she didn't like the more fair colors, but I've had a lot of success with these. But these are like, essentially when you look at the Fenty or the Sephora website, these are like the ones for the deeper skin tones. But again, I like have a preference for a stronger blush look, so I tend to gravitate towards the more pigmented blush. But this is gonna be in last place. I'm gonna set it far aside here. Okay. I just feel like I have like different reasons to like grab different things at different times. So I think that like this is like very overwhelming for me. I like love all my little blush babies. Obviously this was like very hard for me to go through my collection and even like attempt to get rid of any. So I think, being honest with my heart of hearts, I think this would be an second to last. This is from Natasha Denona. I just again, I think because these blushes are in this palette, I'm like reaching for them less. And it's like so big and bulky and I miss it. But what's going on in my drawers for my collection is that the face palettes are in a different place. And I am like a lot of others where like I think face palettes are a little bit passé. It's like it's not that I don't love this blush. I do think though it is like a fairer, like it's not a very pigmented blush, and that could be another thing that I really don't. And I think the other thing is the highlights in here are like much softer than I like typically go for. I mean, I do enjoy a softer highlight sometimes, but like there's something I think with like all of this that like I'm not quite getting. So I probably should take a look at what Natasha Denona says about it. Okay, we're down another one. I think also just because of palettes, I think Lunatic is going to go next. And this is like, I like all of these formulas. I think I had the most to complain about the first two. But I just, because they're in this palette, I have often already made my blush choice before I pick this up. But these blushes do come in handy whenever I'm looking for something that's very easy. And again, I've played with all of these blushes. They're all very beautiful. I should probably like do some blush draping. I should maybe... I know this product has been around for a while, but I think I almost would like to do a video kind of dedicated to it and like just kind of do most of my face with that. But while I love it, it's not the winner. Okay, so I'm gonna set that aside. Okay, so now we're left with these guys. So I would say another thing that started my love for blush were these KVD Rosebud blushes. I love how pigmented they are, but that could be a downside for others. I don't find them like super hard to blend, but you're gonna get a lot of color, which could be very overwhelming, especially if you're like fresh to the world of blush. I don't think this is like really a good place to start. And because they're so pigmented, I often like sometimes spook myself out of using them because I think, oh no, that might be like difficult to work with. But I do really like them. I think the shades are all pretty. I like the fairer shades are really pretty too, like the more neutral shades. I just happened to pick the deeper ones because again, as we've mentioned, I really like the deeper blush look. So now we're left with this. And we're kind of at an impasse because I think I know like where I'm leaning towards for my favorites. So I feel like I have to unfortunately get rid of two because of that. So I'm gonna get rid of Ritual Defee, not get rid of, but I'm gonna place, I'll tell you the rankings at the end, but Ritual Defee, this is their Wasp shade. So this is one of those yellow blushes. I love this. I think this is so cool. I know that like people like we kind of don't want to have like sallow skin with like the yellow, but I think whenever you're making your blush the look, this is like very easy to do with just the yellow. And I like the way they blend out. I think they're very easy to use, but I think just like the Fenty ones, they kind of lack the punch, but they wear very beautifully. And I think especially when you're using one of like the more natural looking shades or the more like traditional pinks, they look very pretty. And like for the average makeup wearer or like the person who likes to put their makeup on with their hands, I think this is a very nice product. Okay, and then placing a little bit higher than that is going to be my Chantecaille blush. Now, I feel like whenever I'm buying more expensive makeup, I feel the need to be a little bit more critical about the product. These are not really cheap and they're kind of small, and I don't like the packaging. I complained about it on my makeup packaging that I hate video. It is like small. It looks like it's dented, but like that's just like that's the way the packaging is supposed to look. However, I will say in its stead, in its place, I would like to note out that this is probably the most blendable, seamless blush that I own. It's like very easy to put on, and that's probably because of the shade and my skin tone. Like they work very well together. But I think that this shade is unexciting, but it does have like a place in my collection for like a more simple look where I still want some blush, some life in my cheeks, but I don't want to do, you know, like the most, which is like what I often do, but there's a time and a place for this. All right, so here we are left. So, okay, so I think, I think that in fifth place, it's going to be the Burberry blushes. These ones, it's not really any fault of their own. It's like that the fact that they end up living in a palette, but I really love the Big Gelée. I obviously like very much love this shade, the shade of purple up here. It's very pretty. And then there's that pink. Sorry, that's the purplier of the two. This is the pinkier. They have a really nice finish on the face. They're not super pigmented. They're super easy to like play with. But I wouldn't say they're natural. I think whenever you apply these with a brush, you get a lot more bang for your buck. I think finger blush swatches are a little bit harder to read. And this is like one of those things. It's like If I end up using this bronzer, then I will use this palette. But if I'm not using this bronzer, I like forget the blushes are in here altogether, because the cream, this is a cream product, which I don't really love that it's kind of just like hanging out in here. It's like this is like a packaging and just like it being in a palette, but I really do love the formula of these. I think Burberry does such great complexion stuff. I do wish, however, that they would expand their range a little bit. The deep palette is not egregious except for the bronzer. I do think that the deep, all of the other stuff in the deep palette is going to look really beautiful on deep skin, but I just don't think that their bronzer is deep enough. So that's that. Just set that aside there. So we're left with 2 creams and 2 powders. Okay. So this will be 4th place. Okay, so I'm gonna put Tower 28 in the 4th place. Again, we've swatched this a couple times. I really like this shade. I would love to have more shades of this, but like I already have a lot of blush and I'm really trying to be better about it. The Pat McGrath ones were kind of an exception when I bought those, because I'm like a Pat McGrath fan and I like just wanted to see what they were like. Ended up liking them, bought a couple more. But I will say, like, after swatching all of those Pat McGrath ones next to my collection, I did kind of get a good swath of stuff that's like not exactly what I have in my collection. So I'm okay with that. But I would say that maybe this comes in 4th place because it is a bit more pigmented than my other ones. Obviously, this is like a deeper shade, so that could be it. But it's not hard to work with at all. But I will say, like, I'm going to have... This is like I have to know that this is the blush that I want to go into my look using and kind of build things around that, because it's going to be like a denser, more glam look whenever I pull this out. So this is just a more out of specificity of when I use it rather than like formula, because I like all of these formulas. Okay. All right. So now we have Westman Atelier, Pat McGrath Labs, and Hourglass. Okay, so I think 3rd place has to be Westman Atelier. This is Pop It. It's this beautiful hot pink. What I love about this one, I love this packaging. It's just divine, but like that's not what we're talking about here, but it is divine. I think that this is such a beautiful pink, and I don't really love this kind of pink for my cheeks, but what Westman Atelier what they've done is they've created like a beautiful, very creamy product, but it blends so seamlessly. But whenever you blend it, you're not really losing, like you're obviously losing a little bit of impact, but it blends just like, that's the kind of flesh I want on my cheek. And you still have that fuchsia, you have the purple, but it's like definitely very wearable. Whereas like when it's in the container, it doesn't look very wearable. Oh God, I did the thing. I think this is just like a very stunning blush. I think if you are someone who wants a luxury feeling, but kind of the Glossier experience, I think that Westman Atelier, having used a lot of Glossier, I did a series on Glossier once before. This is like Glossier, but you actually have the pigment. And I don't have a better way to explain it, is that this shows up definitely a lot more than Glossier does, but it still has the feeling of like being an easy breezy product to put on the skin. Okay. I'm going to say this. We're going to do this. Okay. So in 2nd place, I'm going to put the Pat McGrath. Okay. That was like difficult, guys, to make. But what I'm going to say about this is that while this is a very beautiful blush, I think these all 3 shades go on so like actually so beautifully, especially like they're easy to work with. They look really good on the skin. I think they they add the flush that you want. But the reason it's like not going to come in first is that while I love them, I don't feel like, other than them being a Pat McGrath blush, that they like feel super special in any other kind of way. But they're very easy to work with. I think if you are like, if you want a luxury blush, you're not going to like feel like you got gypped when you buy this, because it does feel like you have a decent amount of product in here. It like feels like more luxurious. Like this compacts aren't my favorite. Pat McGrath's packaging is like kind of hit or miss for me. You get the mirror in there, like everything, like it's nice, but it's like it's not number 1. Okay. All right. So number 1 is the Hourglass blushes. I feel like I need to say off the top that obviously these aren't for everyone. They do have like a sheen to them, and if you're not into a sheen, you might not like them. But what I like about them is kind of like the opposite of like other things that I've mentioned is like you're getting a flush of color, but it's like this, you don't have to try hard. I think that about all of Hourglass's products, that you like, they're just easy. You don't have to try with them. Like when you put them on the cheek, there's like never a fear that you're gonna put too much on, but you always know that you're gonna get enough on that you can see it, and then if you want to build it up, you can. It's the seamlessness for me. So in 11th place we have the Fenty Cream. In 10th place we have Natasha Denona. In 9th place we have Lunatic Cosmetic Labs. In 8th place we have the KVD. In 7th place, I can't do this. We have Ritual Defeat Pigment Nectar Bombs, and then we have Chantecaille in number 7. Did I do that wrong? 8, 7, 6, 5. No. In 6th place is the Chantecaille blush, and then Burberry in number 5, Tower 28 in 4th, the Westman Atelier in number 3, Pat McGrath in 2nd place, and then the Hourglass blushes coming in 1st place. Thank you so much for watching this blushing video. It was fun to do, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. If you have any more interest in other things that I do, I have 3 different podcasts, and they're all linked down below, and I would appreciate you if you followed me over there. Okay, I thank you again. Bye.